As it's going to be led by Angelic. Angelic is the captain of this squad, has the most experience from this squad, has been playing since like 2019, has genuine T2 experience. Skyla and J-Man also have a lot of existing synergy. They played together in high school. They won the Play versus Spring Cup with their high school. I believe that was Breppy Prep, if my notes are accurate. And then you have Anhu rounding out this roster, who comes in with a lot of T3 experience as well, been competing in the Path to Pro system since about 2020.
Yeah, very excited to see how they're going to do. J-Man's the one I'm looking at. He, as you mentioned, lots of experience, and I feel like he's going to be the one to make the big plays. You talk about Angelic. I mean, we all know that name from the contender scene for a long time, but I can't wait to see what J-Man's going to pull out today, especially in this brand new patch we're going to be playing on today.
Oh yeah, things have gotten really strange with this patch that dropped Tuesday. I'm curious to see what effect it'll have here in our highest division in NECC. Let's take a look at the Sun Devils' opponents, Fisher Fiends. And this is certainly a squad to be respected and perhaps a little feared, though they did just recently drop a map to Converse, or drop a match to Converse, that is.
Yeah, Converse feel like they've kind of been like the upset kings in a lot of these matches. They've been playing incredible right now, but Fisher Fiends, just look at some of these names. I mean, I feel like looking at this, you automatically kind of look at like Momentum and Autos on those support line. Like, they're very well-known names and extreme. Like, it's going to be a support line that you're not going to be able to just feed off of if you're ASU. They're going to be, be able to look out for each other very well, and they're very good support players.
And I mean, especially with the caliber of Momentum, you're not gonna have your support players getting left behind in a lot of these rotations. They're gonna be leading the charge on your disengages, on these quick rotations that are so important in this meta. It's a lot of the times where people find first picks is catching a bad rotation from the enemy team. Not likely here from the Fiends.
Couldn't agree with you more. As I mean, this series, it's gonna have to start somewhere. And we do have that first map in, and we will be starting on Ilios today, so you might be expecting a bit of dive on this kind of map.
Oh, we're getting silly right out of the gate. Is this really what this match is going to look like? We're just going right into Ilios. Okay, it's got to be the silliest of the original Overwatch maps. Environmental kills for days. Points are, like a lighthouse. The objective is on this weird edge of the map, and you end up fighting a lot around the middle and around cage. This is going to be a weird start. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, I'm very curious with the meta shakeup we've had with this new patch. Ramatra, who was already strong, getting that buff to his Ravenous Vortex. I think we might continue to see him on a map like Ruins, but with the dive, we feel like D.Va and Doomfist tend to be the two strong dive tanks we have right now. But who knows? I mean, I even saw a tweet from Avril where he's like, I think we might be in Amalgam meta. Uh-oh.
We are in Amalgam meta. That's what we saw in APAC last night. That's what we saw M80 and Toronto were scrimming each other on today. Was Malga versus Orisa. Malga is back. Malga is back in a dangerously bad way. You get 100 flat health on cooldown. You just flat out get 100 health just from the press of a button. That is time that you have to recover your traditional HP. It's time you have to reposition or to get your cooldowns back online. That one change has really thrusted Malga all the way back up to the top of the meta. But doesn't look like either our teams are leaning that direction just yet. I can't imagine Well is probably the best Malga map. Oh, we're getting the Orisa change.
Yeah, it feels when it comes to a map like Well, you're going to get all sorts of silliness. Like, this is probably the silliest of all the maps on Ilios. So you pretty much, I think, especially with the Sun Devils, you're going to be looking with that Junker Queen, be able to rush in, find some good kills, and you always have the chance of like a knife environmental kill.
Yeah, that's a bit of an offshoot. I'd love to see that. I tell you what, you were like Babe Ruth calling the home run on that one. This Orisa, very difficult to dislodge. The unkillable horse. As Aurora is just poking and prodding right now. Really hoping to land that Jagged Blade on a squishy to open up this fight. Ooh, that spear could have been vicious if the follow-up was there. But Forgotten was low. Not able to move in to pursue that final blow. They'll skirt in from the outside, trying to find an opening. So far, we're about in a net neutral. Nobody with an advantage.
Yeah, as they're just jostling for positions, looking for that first opening pick. I'm really surprised with the Junker Queen. They're not looking to initiate and get aggressive more, Bullskunk.
I mean, who would you get aggressive onto, I think, is the problem. There it is. The answer is Faded. You just got to have all your ducks in a row to burn down an Orisa. Sun Devils, they do it. They open this thing up finally with some first blood. And despite Fisher grabbing opening cap, Sun Devils win the first fight.
And, you know, despite how slow that fight was going and how many, you know, kills we didn't get, look at the amount of damage J-Man's been putting out there. He's already going to have a high noon coming back to this next fight. And playing the Cassidy for J-Man allows him to put a lot of pressure onto Atlas playing this Echo.
And are Forgotten, for that matter. Both
yeah.
take yes from Fisher. You know, run into roadblocks when they're trying to move in, when they're trying to find the off angles, or get in to burn down Aurora. You've got J-Man there thwarting both. Woo, focusing beam there. Will melt Angelic. Not quite able to get away from that. Atlas does have to back up, find a little bit of healing. Kitsune Rush invested in from the Sun Devils in Lu. Back and forth they go, but it's Faded on the outside who finds the most value out of that Kitsune Rush.
I mean, it's with the amount of, you know, chunkiness that Orisa has, plus having that Fortify and the Javelins, but just all those on super fast cooldowns, it's going to be absolutely impossible to kill an Orisa through a Kitsune Rush. And Sun Devils, there's just no getting out of that. As we're going to see some swaps coming in. Aurora now going to go over to the Sigma. And, you know, I'm not against this pick. I think going against an Orisa, you know, no matter what cooldown she uses, like if she Javelin spins at you, your Creature Rock still does a lot.
And perhaps able to find some picks on some of these outlier heroes, get some of the squishies out of the way. But right now, Aurora's got to keep full attention on the array, so can't even worry about Forgotten, who's shooting their team in the back. And J-Man falls. Meanwhile, the trust is there, and who is equalizing on the other side. The Orisa is gone. Aurora is still here, and Sun Devils now just chasing some exit picks. Forgotten running for dear life.
I mean, well played once again for the re-engage on the Sigma. I was a little worried because, like I mentioned, the Orisa very chunky, very hard to kill, and Orisa can easily just get in the face of this Sigma, but they played it patiently, allowed Anhu to make the plays, and really set themselves up for success. Now you're going to have the ability to sustain through a lot of these incoming ults from Fisher with this sound barrier from Angelic.
Doing a good job of keeping Atlas at bay for the moment. Me a duplicate onto the higher ground. Magne lands the boom. Look at Angelic is just all over the duplicate. Atlas can't really get much done. Eventually finds J-Man as the duplicate faded. Somehow, through getting pushed around, getting bullied, still has the wherewithal to find that pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Atlas being relentless and continuing to search down Angelic, because Angelic's doing a great job of just continuing to disrupt so many players on the side of Fisher Fiends. And again, you're going to be walking into this Orisa Kitsune Rush. Once again, this is going to be so deadly. Anhu's got to find something with his Pulse Bomb.
And it was low at the moment. I think Forgotten was on top of it and held health pack control. Yeah, Forgotten is holding this. Both are going to recall up top. Meanwhile, back on the point, and to try to move in, has found a sound barrier.
Not so fast.
Nobody touches. That is a big old Charlie Niner.
You talked about, so this is where we're going. This is the silliness, and already a Charlie Niner coming into the series. Very unfortunate. It's just both these teams. We know the pedigree of talent that they're going to bring to this series. So, you know, if you think about it and you say, okay, these teams probably somewhat even if you want to go on the talent level. So now it's just going to come down to how you guys play within these compositions and how you look to counter swap each other throughout each map. As we now head into Lighthouse, the Sun Devils are now going to make a swap over to a Winston dive composition. And Winston's one of those heroes we haven't seen a whole lot of. As I mentioned, most of the time when we've seen dive, it's been Diva or Doomfist.
Winston has definitely come. I've heard murmurs of Winston kind of making some reappearance. This is actually strong. A lot more forward focused than a Diva. Sun Devils are setting up all over the map. Look how far apart Aurora is from Anhu at the moment. Oh, and Momentum just runs right in the middle of all of it. Come into my parlor, says the Sun Devils to the Momentum.
Again, these Lucios are just doing incredible work, just continuing to CC and control and not allowing anyone to get into some advantageous positions.
Control point unlocked. It forced both of our teams to move down to the objective. Fisher prioritizing it enough to grab control and build percentage here as this first fight continues to break out all over the map. Little individual duels taking place, and who winning theirs out. The rest of Fisher, it looks like they're going to go ahead and just coordinate on the objective. Oh man, that was a huge purple from Skyla. It resulted in the death of momentum, faded back into the corner, and Sun Devils are doing a really good job of meticulously picking this apart.
Yeah, because that was going to be my issue, is yes, you're playing this dive composition, but there's not a lot of targets on the side of Fisher Fiends to actually dive upon, but they're just doing a good job of playing the outside of the point and just picking them off one by one as we're continuing to see that these late staggers are only making things worse for Fisher. So, again, I think it's just smartly played by the Sun Devils when they don't have a lot of this damage to focus people down, as Fisher, they're going to make a swap. They're going to go over to the Winston as well.
You know, and you were talking about, you know, kind of the mechanical skill being equal between the two. I gotta say, in the back of my mind, I'm not sure I agreed with that. I don't know that J-Man is truly mechanically on the same level as Forgotten, or that Enhu is on the same level as Atlas. I will say, Sun Devils have that big old brain. You know what? J-Man just went down that duel with that beautiful Blink Recall, or the Ghost Melee. So, you know what? J-Man is making me eat my words a little bit here. All right, you've got some hands. All right, I wasn't saying you didn't. All right, J-Man, it's all right.
That's a caster curse if I've ever seen one before. No, but again, I think this is us witnessing the rise of the Sun Devils as they're trying to climb these ranks. And look at this. 5 ultimates in their war chest to be able to use here, because Fisher's kind of been swapping some things around. They don't have as many ults to be able to commit to this fight. So I just want to see some aggression out of the Sun Devils. Don't allow Fisher to get in and take advantage of their ults and find you in a bad spot.
And who down about 50 health as they drop the duplicate onto the carry and swift step out. That was genius. Big anti in, that is cleanse, and the Katsuna Rush is here from Fisher fades. And with the duplicate just has to escape up top. Will not get that Katsuna Rush, just good to survive through all of that. Primal Rage out from Aurora down on the objective. 1 health, the bubble breaks. Atlas goes down. Anhu's still playing around the outside. Another big anti lands from Skyla. This one on a faded, and Anhu is still just hunting all on the outside of the point.
So this is another issue that I was going to be very curious to see how this would play out, Bullskunk, is with this new patch, Ana and Brig got some big buffs to them. Brig, the cooldown on her armor packs, and Ana got an extra, what, it was like 30 damage and healing on those nades. So
yeah, on the impact.
I thought we might start seeing some more Brig Ana, and we're seeing that on full display with the Sun Devils.
And it's just one of the, especially as a squishy, that extra 30 damage just means you don't last as long as you thought. J-Man, well, fell on the wrong end of that one. Didn't last as long in that duel as they would have liked. But Anhu wins out on the other side. Both teams missing a DPS. And this just feels like each hero is fighting their matchup on the other side. Like, let's just Winstons go Winston to Winston. Our Tracers are going to fight each other. Fade wins out over Aurora. That is massive. And that's going to snowball into a fight win for Fisher.
Yeah, and for Fisher, things are starting to look up. You're coming up on some ultimates. You get the late stagger on a Skyla, and you forced a lot of ultimates out of Sun Devils in the previous fights. So if you're Sun Devils, basically you get one more crack at this to try and keep the hopes alive to win this map. You're going to be relying heavily on this Nano doing some wonders.
Oh, but Nano can work miracles, particularly in a Winston v. Winston. Up to Sun Devils to take this back. Aurora currently focused on taking back Cage. Oh, gotta fall back, protect your healers. As Faded is gonna move in with a Primal Rage. It's got 2 of them locked in a corner. Nothing Aurora dude can watch. The Nano's not enough to save him from that. And both healers are gone. Now a sound barrier from Fisher should all but seal the deal here on Ilios. Aurora just holding on, trying to cling to that overtime as much as they can. They do have a Primal. This will continue, and Enhu has a duplicate, but Enhu's taken out of that dupe. Need to get back on point. No, they died just before they touch. Anhu is here, keeping the overtime going. J-Man could land a stick and might do it, but nah. Fisher, they are too methodical. They're too good. They're not going to let those kills get away from them. They will secure this first map.
Again, it was just clinical on that map from Fisher. Once they got the matchup with the Winston v Winston and they got the ult economy reset after making their swaps, they never looked back. They never committed too many ultimates to a fight. They always made sure they either could match or have the advantage in each fight when it came to the ultimates, and that's what it came down to for that final fight. They had more ults to commit. When the Nano came in for the Winston, they had the sound barrier, and then they were able to also use that primal rage to find 2 kills on the high ground.
I mean, if Skyline and Angelic can get out of that window, that fight goes very differently, right? You know, then we're looking at a completely different outcome. And what was a 99-99 fight there on that second map? ASU they played that so well. They were so smart in their execution here, and it just slips between their fingers in the last possible second.
Yeah, I mean, both teams had their highlight moments and their times to shine. I mean, I think we really got to see why ASU has been, you know, taking down a lot of these teams and rising up in the end. Because it turns out we're a little bit good at our jobs, at least a little bit. I mean, we are going to Gibraltar. We at least got that.
Yeah, but I forgot Dorado's in the map pool, so I think it's kind of, you know, it's like an even roll. That would have been a advantage and disadvantage. Yeah. Let's see. I was curious. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sun Devils are the ones who ban Circuit, and of course Fisher ban out Dorado, as anticipated. So the other map that would have been good high ground, that's Fisher did not want to play on Dorado, apparently. So here we land as we head in to the beautiful base, home of Winston Overwatch.
And Jeff, I've been waiting for this. I was curious when this was going to pull out. Sun Devils, they got a substitute coming in. Z Panther coming on the support line, baby. I was waiting for it.
Oh yeah? Why? What gets you so excited about Z Panther coming in?
I think Z Panther, I recognize this name so much from Collegiate and from the tier 3/tier 2 scene. They're an incredibly talented support player. And I think what I think they're going to do is play this a double flex support kind of setup. If they do go I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait to see these two, Angelic and Z Panther, comboed up on the support line.
Looking forward to it. It's good stuff. The Devils need to do something here to try to turn this around. We'll see what plan it is here for Escort. I say that like need to do something like it was if they weren't doing things on Ilios. they were doing lots of good things on Ilios there, Ray.
Acting like they just got steamrolled on that map.
Yeah, no, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah. But I was taking a quick peek at that last series on Gibraltar that you guys were casting. I can't wait to get this map underway.
Tornado buff.
Yeah,
Tornado buff.
Exactly. I love this map. I'm not nearly when I play it, it's just a map I'm not as good at, but it's one of my favorite maps to cast. And again, like we saw, if we were playing Winston on Lighthouse, I expect to see Winstons again on this map. So I think everyone loves some good Winton.
I know I do. Yeah, I love playing Winton. That's why this is one of my favorite maps. That means it really doesn't even matter the meta. WPG shows up in my games, I can lock Winston, and I don't feel bad. Like, I know that my team isn't going to flame me for playing Winston on this map. I don't know if that's what we're going to see here. I hope so. We actually saw D.Va before. Yeah, Fisher showing us the D.Va defensively. We'll give Aurora the 40 seconds they need to settle in, figure out, might change their mind. But we do see the Ana here from the defense as well, Ray.
Yeah, I actually like the D.Va matchup into the Winston. Those micro missiles can really focus down to Winston pretty quickly. So Aurora will definitely have to be very careful. And on a Genji, so they're really going to be playing for these nano blade setups to try and tear apart this backline of the Sun Devils. I mean, it's a very feast or famine type of combination to be going for.
Nano blade? What's that? That new DLC?
Not in my Overwatch 2.
Jump up to the high ground. And Faded exactly does thwart Aurora. Aurora would love to have stayed up here and allowed Sun Devil's little room to work, but Faded gets topped off, and with all that armor, it is very hard to dislodge a D.Va.
That it is, as Faded is just looking for this Winston, trying to apply pressure and not allowing them to take dives so easily. But with Anhu on the Echo, Atlas has to play that much more careful on the Genji.
Little's content to just sneak underneath Car Wash. Fisher happy with their little pedestal up here. Roar jumps up to say hello. And a nice anti-nade lands, but the boot puts Aurora back down. The momentum able to stay alive through that.
High ground control.
Another engagement here up top from Aurora. And another bio nade comes in. Z Panther trying to layer that, but a beautiful sleep. And it falls like a brick out of the sky. Second attack thwarted once again. Another anti under Aurora, just struggling to find any room to work.
Yeah, the Sun Devils are trying to do the right thing, Jeff. They're trying to take this high ground, take that box away. But again, Fisher's doing a great job of kind of like a bait and switch almost. They're kind of letting him take it for half a second, and then Faded comes up with the boosters. In comes the nade from Autos, and then they just wipe him off.
Momentum doing a good job in the thick of that as well, using the boop to just displace and not allow Sun Devils to get settled up there. But now Fisher finally release control, relinquish this high ground. Oh, only temporarily though. Could be a nano, but sort of forgotten. Fell down low, recalls to get back up to the high ground, throws a pulse into a pack of people. Everybody's able to get out of the way, but Momentum and Atlas come in, find two final blows, chasing down Z Panther, and another good hold from Fisher.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Using the nano on the Tracer to go do a lot of damage and allow Atlas to go do the finish off with the dash resets time and time again. Anhu, however, gets a exiting pick on the Momentum. So if you're Fisher Fiends, they're going to have to look to play less aggressive. They're going to have to back up a little bit until their Lucio gets back.
Oh, that is a disastrous turn for Fisher. You do not... How does that even happen with the sound barrier in the pocket as well? Comes back and just uses it all loosey-goosey. It does land on the Atlas, who pulls the blade out. No nano to combine with this, and no targets to be found. Sound barrier and the blade invested, and now Sun Devils are here to counterpunch. It's the Primal Rage combined with the duplicate. That'll pick up a pair. Still lots of work to be done here from the Sun Devils, and who will find some. In comes Faded to try to hold the cart. It's only buying time at this point, delaying the inevitable.
That it is, but the longer they're able to stall this, the more likely they get people back and see Panthers down.
Yeah, not good. The big ante. He's going to force Angelic back. Rally is up here from the Sun Devils. Good bet didn't quite pan out. Momentum gets the final blow. Ended up with Faded behind the shield that did the bulk of that damage to the Brig. Aurora does manage to get Faded out of the mech. Oh, no. No.
Oh, no. 30 seconds left on the clock, and just disaster strikes the Sun Devils. The one thing you're going to have going for you is you will have a nano coming this next fight, but Fisher is just getting... They're going to have a nano of their own too, so really, the Sun Devils, they got to make a play here. And who has gotten a lot of opening picks. I'm looking at them to find another one.
10 on the clock. And who's down low already, down to 64 health, does find the opening pick that they needed. Still have to move towards the car. Tracer is there. Bionade lands. The nano is out. Here on 100 to the high ground. Melts down Otis with the focusing beam. Turns to land the stickies onto the Diva. Meanwhile, Atlas has a nano of their own and is taking out both of your supports. Can Sun Devils do this? No! Once again, Sun Devils do everything right in the beginning, and Fisher turn around the fight. Aurora is able to do a little bit more. Sun Devils, they need reinforcements, and they needed them yesterday. It is just a Pilot Diva left on the point. This cart will get stopped here. Yeah. Oh, so close, Angelic, so close.
That's just so disappointing if you're ASU. You had two great opportunities to be able to get that cart across the finish line, and you just couldn't come up with the clean up quick enough. It's very, like, I feel like if you're the Sun Devils and you go back and you VOD review this, you're going to be looking at this and just be kicking yourselves. Like, the opportunities they had, Jeff.
Yeah, I can't believe that retake. That one retake from Sun Devils was so fast. And so, like, usually if you retake that fast, it's not going to be effective. you're going to have a little bit of a panic. You're not going to go in the right order. You're going to lose somebody on the approach. But Fisher managed, I mean, that's where this breadth of experience comes in. Not only do they get back into the contest, I mean, just get back into that fight so blazingly fast, but they're able to stay organized in the process and find the picks they need. Forgotten lands that stick, and that just was the beginning of the end of the Sun Devils.
But this is Watch Point Gibraltar, so I never say never when it comes to a fuller hold on a map like this. It's not easy to break through this first point. I mean, these high ground positions that defense are just basically afforded are strong for a reason. So I feel like it's definitely not over yet. I like J-Man going over to the Ashe. I'm a big fan of the Ashe in the meta we currently go in. Even with the slight nerf to the healing reduction to the DPS, I think Dynamite is incredibly strong.
Yeah, it's a bit situational, but when Ashe is good, Ashe is really, really good. And against Afara, I mean, J-Man has a smart pick here. Really keep Forgotten from finding a lot of value. You can see just poking from a distance with these rockets at the moment.
A little surprising to see the Pharah getting whipped out, especially when you know they're playing Diva plus normally some sort of hit scan.
I mean, we've got a lot of silliness coming out of Fisher right now, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. They're literally on Roadhog. We're sitting here focusing on why they're playing Pharah when they're literally got a Roadhog on the field. I mean, it just speaks to their confidence right now and how they're feeling in this series.
I mean, Yari as well. I mean, when was the last time you saw Yari in, like, a serious competitive match?
Probably since she came out.
Since Owl, yeah. Diving up to the high ground. I mean, you got Atlas can just do so much on this Genji to move in with Forgotten, and it's very difficult to fend off. Enough! Despite the silliness, Fisher move up to match point.
Forgotten just went sicko mode on that Pharah. That was absolutely ridiculous. On 3 picks in that fight, and excuse me, now they're up 2-0 in the series. I mean, you got to think what ASU is feeling, man. Like, they kind of let some opportunities go by the wayside, and then they kind of, get, this composition comes out with the Pharah Roadhog. You got to think. So,
no, but just top 5 schools in collegiate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was specifically. Yeah, my bad. I was focusing on NECC.
Oh, but yes, as far as NEC's playoffs, you're right. It's hard. It's tough to crack past the big 3, if you would.
Yeah, and the one team I'm actually most curious about heading into this is that Redbird squad, just because, so many imports coming in, they have had so much time to work together and get things going. I mean, they've even looked really good in OWCS, so can't wait to see how they come into playoffs.
So will be very exciting this season. Cannot wait. Not get ahead of ourselves, though.
Yep.
We have our final week of regular season to get through. We're up 2-0 as we head into map number 3.
And it looks
like Panther staying in the lineup here.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I mean, they are highlighting a Lucio BAP setup. We did see previously on Ilias when they were playing Lucio composition, they had autos in there. So I mean, not autos.
It was Skyla.
Yeah, Skyla, thank you. Skyla was in there, so I can't wait to see how this plays with Z Panther. I mean, Z Panther is definitely known for their Baptiste, so I can't wait to see how this works out. J-Man going to be on the Sojourn as well, going to be against Atlas.
We have a Moira here from Otis, as we're seeing on our screen at the moment. Very, very bursty healing, as opposed to consistent sustained healing from the Bat. We're gotten already out of the fight. Sunday will find first blood here on Suravasa. Atlas going down the rest of the crew, trying to bring it back. But with J-Man's kill, it's a 5v3 in Sun Devil's favor.
As you mentioned, the Moira with the burst heals available, Moira also has limited heals. So especially with the speed this Junker Queen wants to play at, the Fisher did not get aggressive enough to be able to go after the more, J-Man's looking to poke from angles. Aurora's looking to keep their space. They just didn't take that space away.
Forgotten is still just in the thick of things. There's just no disengage button. No S key on Forgotten's keyboard, apparently.
Oh! That was very smart. I think that Mega got taken away from him because he did the recall and never got that Mega, so they took it away before he could get it and heal himself up.
Just using the jump to get up to safety, but is also sent back to spawn. Fisher Fanes have yet to really regroup after that first fight.
It's like it's been going, bad to worse for Fisher. They just continue to keep staggering. Now we're in a position where they're only going to get one more fight on this first point. I mean, you will have a lot of ultimates to commit to this fight if you're Sun Devils. So Forgotten's already down though.
Yep, same thing as the first fight. Forgotten falls early. And Z-Panther finding the kill this time. And his pulse bomb miss. Recalls with 8 health. J-Man finds that final blow. Sun Devils on top here. Haven't had a single death. It's been flawless from the ASU thus far.
Yeah, this is the Sun Devil squad we were hoping to see. This break has done them well. They seem to be firing on all cylinders once again. And who would have thought we come into Saravasa and see the Sigma composition absolutely dominating right now? And this is no slight to the Sun Devils whatsoever, but I still can't help but think Fisher has not been pushing the effort enough to try and get on top of Z-Panther or J-Man or Aurora and not allow them to keep the distance like they have. But it is tough when Forgotten keeps getting picked off early in these fights.
You can see why Z-Panther stayed in on the Baptiste here for BAP 3. Getting those early picks, making it tough on Fisher. And Forgotten specifically. Forgotten does have a pulse bomb. Might be looking for some revenge on Panther here to start off this fight. It's going to be Rabbinic Flux out of Sun Devils to kick it off. Atlas tried to slide out of there. Still manages to get the kill of Skyborn with the overclock. And who eventually comes in for the revenge. But it's a +1 to Fisher on this as the sound barrier fades. Momentum using that to win out their duel over the Lucio. Fisher finally able to get something done here on Saravasa.
Yeah, and that was actually very good ult trades. If you are Fisher, you win that fight, you trade 2 for 2 essentially. Z-Panther is now going to swap over to the Kiriko, and they're not going to have the Sigma swap. I'm really surprised. Sigma tends to do a little bit better with the Immortality Field than they do with the Suzu. But I mean...
Rampage exists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's got to be it. Like, it's the only reason I think they would make that swap. It is strictly to counter Rampage, which is right there. Suzu, notably absent. Aurora's still purple. J-Man back in spawn. Panther, I don't know if it got forced out early. Didn't see, but it was a huge Rampage. And Faded eventually goes down. Faded and Momentum both stayed in that room until they just had nothing left. I guess just trusting that Forgotten's going to come in and clean up with a 2K. Why not? And who gets Otis? It's a Tracer duel here on the point. Forgotten's gonna dive in, lands that one, recall back out. Here comes reinforcements, Ray. They interrupted the honorable duel.
I know, how can you do that, man? Basically the point was, Atlas, oh my goodness, finds 2 picks. Atlas coming alive on the Sojourn, ties up 1-1, as now they're gonna be rotating to this next point as that was a tale of 2 points. Both teams having their time in the sunlight, in the spotlight. Absolutely, both teams dominating the 2 points that they won.
Yeah, in Fisher fashion, of course, it was messy and chaotic. ASU was very clean and flawless, didn't lose a single death in their take. Fisher's like, let's just throw him into a blender. Kitsune rush out, and speed is only going to increase, amp up from the Fiends. As they try to run down Aurora in the back half, managed to split them off from Z-Panther, but still Aurora's accuracy is too good. Momentum cut off the wall. Rabbinic Flux now online for the Sigmas. They rotate back around to the point.
As the Sun Devils have now rotated, take control of the point. Flux in the back pocket, trying to make something happen here, but Forgotten. Atlas pops the overclock.
Yep, he's shooting into a Kitsune rush. Shield in the face. Oh, hands in the face. Atlas gets absolutely nothing through that. Angelic dies after the sound barrier fades out. Rabbinic Flux didn't get a whole lot. There was still some shielding there from Momentum. Aurora struggling to take on these 2 targets. Does find Atlas there with a nice little combo, but overwhelming odds favoring Fisher in this one.
You do get a good 40% if you're the Sun Devil, so that's going to be feeling good. And you were able to force out a lot of ultimates for the side of Fisher. Now we see the Sun Devils making the swap. They are going to go over and match this Junker Queen. This is the composition similar to what they were running on Ilios Well, where they pull out the Cassidy to help put a lot of pressure on the Forgotten.
Unfortunately, Forgotten, I'm not sure is feeling it at the moment. Woo, that is a rampage through, too. Oof. Using that to clean that one up. Faded finds both of the low health members and picks them apart from across the map. That Jagged Blade doesn't quite land, and Aurora has managed to pick up a couple of kills of their own. As this fight continues, it still could go anybody's direction. J-Man finds Faded. Aurora surviving through all of that. They're going to pick Otis off the top.
Yeah, but with the aggression and the time you took off the clock, you pretty much get this to one final fight territory. But yeah, and late staggers aren't going to do Fisher Fiends any favors either.
I mean, you really only get 2 fights per point anyway. I was thinking about this in that first one when we kept seeing Fisher kind of stagger in. It was actually kind of smart in a weird way. I know that sounds contradictory, but it was like the one window where like you could afford to give some staggers because you wouldn't get a third fight on a checkpoint here. So Rush to start things off from Fisher as they look to move in. Forgotten has a pulse bomb, not even going to need it.
They're just going to come in with that Kitsune Rush. Absolute. I mean, you talk about in true Fisher fashion that things can be chaotic. That was just clinical and clean. Pop Kitsune Rush. Atlas goes in, kills a bunch of people, and they just played that very well as now they're up 2-1. Puts themselves on match point. They get one more point, and they are coming out of this match the victors.
It's a nice little move. Forgotten pulled back into Atlas and just kind of baited Anhu into that shot that we saw to start off that highlight. That was a really nice little micro move from Forgotten. Smart positioning to pull them into the teammate. Unfortunately, they did not have as good a positioning this time around. J-Man does have an overclock ready to go as Fisher tried to push in. They're running into an overclock, and J-Man finds momentum. Good stick from Anhu. Atlas jumps up to avoid hurting anybody else on their team, but I think the damage is done here from ASU.
Yeah, I like to see Anhu coming up on the kill feed. I mean, they were doing so good on the Echo on the previous map. It's nice to see them making some noise on the Tracer. It feels like they've been a little quiet this map as Forgotten's kind of been running circles on this Tracer. Aurora, I mean, now this is the Sun Devils' big, time to start getting momentum in their favor. They're going to have this Rampage available. They'll get a sound barrier. This is their chance to try and turn this around and bring this map back.
It's Z-Panther once again on to Forgotten. It's the third time this map Z-Panther has found first blood onto Forgotten specifically, and Fisher have to respect it. Oh, nice knife. Oh, the swift step to get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, you did force out the cooldown, but it is so nice to see Z-Man coming through on these maps, finding these first bloods. Z-Panther. It is awesome to see this dude making big time plays in collegiate like this.
I can see why you were so excited when Z-Panther subbed in. I get it now. I get it. Otis is able to find Angelic early, and that is not good for Sun Devils. Sound barrier will have to wait. They can hold on to that for the next fight. Fortunately for them, they'll have a couple more shots at this.
But unfortunately for them, you get that to one fight territory, but you didn't force any ults out of Fisher. They're pretty much able to win that just by getting an early pick. And now they're going to just have so many blue check marks for this next fight. So Sun Devils have to hope someone makes a big play, or, you take this next fight and hope to force out as many ults from Fisher as possible and look to win the fight after.
Oh, that was a huge Jagged Blade. J-Man just takes one step the wrong direction and ends up pulled into oblivion. Here's the rush in. Aurora finds Faded with that. Atlas striking back overclock. Aurora is gone.
Okay, if you're the Sun Devils, that was a 2-for-1 trade. You essentially traded Kitsune Rush and Overclock for your Rampage. So now, I talked about how Anhu's been kind of quiet, had his pop-off moment, the previous Pulse Bomb, has to find another one this time. A lot is on his shoulders.
The whole match is on his shoulders right now. Pulse Bomb from Forgotten finds a pair. Faded is going to go ahead and Rampage onto Aurora, and this is going to be it. Anhu's Pulse will not do it. Does not hit the mark. in this 99-99 fight, heavily favoring Fisher at the moment. They're going to clean up on who won the point. I don't see any other red jersey anywhere close, and the time fades away for the Sun Devils. The sun sets as Fisher rules the day.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, ASU trying to make a statement here, show why they've been climbing up the rankings, but sometimes you just run into a brick wall. That is the Fisher Fiends. They played absolutely out of their minds today and showed like, hey, listen, ASU, we respect you a lot. We appreciate the grind you guys have been on. You guys have been looking really good, but you're in a different class now, buddy. Time to level up.
Welcome to the big league. Welcome to your masters. You might have been done with your bachelors, but now